Hello and welcome to my first podcast. You are listening to Nothing is Perfect. At first. What I mean by that. So going back into my life, when I for the first time touched base with the professional environment, to get into a work environment and get to learn how things work. How things work there and how to progress through something I would call my career now. So I started as kind of part-time I was learning for my exams, finishing off when I increased hours, and I started small. I was filing invoices, reconciling accounts before go live. So I started small. I done the small jobs to kind of get a better understanding of what has to be done in an office environment. Something I haven't worked in before. And I quickly realized, only being in the office a couple of days a week, if you lay back on those days, things will get crazy. So there were invoices booked every day from, I think it was like 4 or 5 people team at the time, and they piled up those invoices for me to file when I came back. And because I was only there 2 days, I had piles from a couple of days usually. And if I would come in, lay back and do it slowly, there would still be piles left when I come back the next day, and they would go bigger and bigger. So while I knew I had to do it, I also had to realize that I won't be able to get everything done when I do it the first time. I was slow to get those invoices away, because the folders were arranged, I didn't find them straight away. I had to walk around more often, go back and forth, maybe pick up the wrong folder because the company was, the gaming company, and I looked for it at T. Well, it was at G, because C wouldn't be the first word they would use to file it at, which I didn't realize in the beginning. So I had to get used to it. So I was slow in the beginning, obviously. And I was looking instead of asking for feedback if I was slow, or it was normal to get things done slowly in the beginning. So it was something really, really new for me, and I didn't realize that in the beginning. So what we all have to realize is that we have to evolve. We have to get better. Slowly but steadily. There's no huge peak. There might be at some point, but you will never be able to hold that peak constantly. So if there's a slow and steady peak, it's much more worth than have that one peak once in your life. So we have to get familiar with the things we have at hand. If we do so, we improve. We get faster, we speed up things, and we also enjoy them more because we can see their progress while we're doing it. So if we have that in mind, that when we familiarize ourselves, do the things slowly but more reps, we increase through that familiarity. It becomes a habit. It's second nature to us to do those tasks, those steps, the process in that certain way that we don't think about it anymore, and we intuitively get faster, improve and increase speed, and therefore we will be getting more done than it's necessary to do. So in that scenario, what that meant for me was the filing I usually needed the full 2 days when I was there, or 5 hours or so on two those days. I got done after a while in 2 hours. And then I had still 3 hours left on that day. And through that brought me into starting to do reconciling on accounts. And then that was the next thing I knew I had to get better in, to kind of progress through the next step on, the maybe complexity on the task, to challenge myself even more than I used to do before. So through failing, sucking at something and doing it really, really slow, I could improve and get the next task I was really bad at in the beginning. And that was bad because I drove for perfection. And we can try for perfection. Or we can get frustrated over perfection. And that's what I had in the beginning. I wanted to get everything done perfectly before I gave it to someone else to review, for handing it back. And then that made me to look kind of lazy, because I got so little done in so much time, because I wanted to have it perfect. And because perfect is something evolving, if it's perfect for me tonight, I look into it tomorrow again, I could just redo the whole thing, because it doesn't look that perfect to me anymore. But there is the thing we have to realize. It's our perfection. It's our point of view. There's not only one truth. There are many, multiple. Everyone has their own perception on things being perfect or being good enough to be handed in. So we have to look for the right tools to improve and make things closer to perfect every single day. And if something is perfect for us today, it's not going to be perfect tomorrow. If an automobile would have been considered perfect back in, 50, 60, whenever the first few came out, we wouldn't have Teslas or those highly innovative BMWs, Mercedes, Fords, whatever we have now, electronic, powered with all those drive assistance. If someone back then would have said, well, it's perfect, we don't have to do anything anymore, we wouldn't have something as perfect as we have right now. And that's still not perfect, because in 10 years time things will evolve again and things will become even better, something we won't be able to realize right now. And our parents, the generation before us, they wouldn't have been able to realize either. Therefore, we have to ask. We have to ask if it's needed. If there's something where we can see that there's possibility to improve, we need to get the feedback from outside. So if someone reviews what we have done, it's not to talk it down on any shape or form, but they might see something where they know, hey, if you look into that, or if you looked at it at that angle, if you tried it that way, and that small impulse could just bring us somewhere even further we wouldn't have thought we could reach before. So consider asking other people, even if they're outside of your industry. Look into Elon Musk with Tesla. He came from like a payment solution with PayPal, and he went into doing solar technique, cars, battery power for cars and for houses, battery storage for houses, and he has created something nobody had even thought possible. And that's quite close to me right now, because I have been driving with a colleague just 2 days ago in his Tesla Model 3, and the acceleration in that car is just crazy. Something you can't believe if you went with those insane fast roller coasters before, and you could feel those G-forces pressing you down on your seat. That kind of feels like when he puts down the pedal, because there's no gap between putting it down and the electric motor has full power at the beginning until it reaches its limit. So it's crazy how things can be done and how things can work if someone who has never done it before and just does the way he thinks it's possible gets it done. And that car's such a great example of all the cameras and the self-driving and a lot of other sound effects in the car. You can simulate farts coming out from different different areas of your car where all the speakers are placed, which is kind of, I don't know, maybe something silly he wanted to put in as I don't know, as some gadget for making fun of friends when they're driving with you. So to get where we want to go, we have to check how the big players are doing it. And what I mean by that is, I'm not sure if you're listening to it or you also can see the presentation, which is underlining that audio on YouTube. If you want to, you can check out the link is in my show notes, and you can see a few screenshots I took from my app store this week, where we can see all the updates coming out. So if we start on the top, we can see Google Maps, and it's like release version 5.21, and you can see bug fixes that improves the product. Then we have Instagram, like version 100, which is insane, I think. And also bug fixes, performance improvements. Then we have Bitmoji, iTunes U with Apple, Amazon also bring out bug fixes, version 13.30.0, Amazon Prime Video also with improvement fixes, with Kindle, Amazon improvements and bug fixes, Microsoft Teams improvements and bug fixes. And when you just see them, Instagram version 100.0, Amazon 13.20.0, Kindle version 6.20. If you're gonna go into your app store, you will see that even though those screenshots are taken a couple of days ago, if you look into it, most likely there are gonna be new versions out again, and they have brought out apps which aren't perfect. They have put their work out to the world, and with something like that, they have already an instrument where their users can give feedback back to them, and using that feedback, they constantly improve their product. And having our daily work being our product, we have to look out for the feedback. We need to improve our product, regardless of what it is you're doing. If we never put out that we are keen to hear feedback and that we appreciate feedback, regardless if it might be something our ego can't take in the beginning, if we do so, we're going to receive more feedback. And if we receive more feedback, we're able to improve the things. Our colleagues, our bosses, people around us we work with on constant basis are annoyed with, or perhaps not even annoyed with, they're very rarely annoyed, I think. They think we can improve just because they have seen it from other people that it didn't help them to progress anywhere they thought possible for them. So we need to constantly look out for feedback in order to improve, and that's how the big player roll, and that's how we should roll. So going back, on today's episode, what we have learned and what we have talked about. We are taught not to fail, but we have to improve step by step. We start at some point, but that's not where we stop. So we have to constantly go further, embrace where we fail and make mistakes, and reach out for the feedback to constantly improve. If we focus on that as our passion, to receive feedback and be keen to get that, take it on and do something with it, we will receive more. So we don't have to focus on what others do. We have to focus on what we do and the feedback we receive to improve that. And if we do that, as the big players do, put out their work, look for feedback, and adjust accordingly to what they receive back, we're gonna get more done. So before I close out today, I hope you could take something with you, and I would like to ask you for a favor. If you're a previous listener, returning listener, or new listener tuning in for the first time, special thank you. Please share this episode or any favorite episode you have with 3 of your friends within the next 24 hours. If there's something you could take out, your friends also will be, and they will appreciate you sharing it with them, and I will appreciate it greatly too. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I'm your host, Max Röck, and until next time.